I am allowed to start. Yeah, now that I started, you're really quiet on that, aren't you? Not giving me orders anymore. Thank you. So we're in chapter
You're
8.
authoritatively welcome.
I am the authority here. I organize the call. I have the local sound. You have to go through Google Meet or whatever that's called. So you sound a little canned.
You're giving away all our
Get
secrets.
dunked on. Yeah. If you guys ever find our Google Meet, it's going to be unfortunate. We're going to get... I guess it's not photo bombed because there's no video for this. I don't know what it would be. Audio bombed? Is that a... That's not a term.
Sure.
Oh, we're on chapter 8 of the Two Towers, or chapter 19 because we're in the second half. The Stairs of Cirith Ungol.
Yes.
Or as some of the kids say, Cirith Ungol.
Those kids are wrong.
C is not a real letter. Everything C does can be accomplished by K or S, so C should not exist. And I think I would die on that hill. It is a useless letter. It introduces ambiguity where there shouldn't be. That's the entire thing. That's the most interesting part of this chapter.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I don't even agree with that statement. I just wanted to say it.
Good.
Do you like this chapter? You were saying something about how you liked it.
Oh. It's a very good chapter. I think in this part of the book, it might stand in Trinity with the first chapter and with the Window to the West chapter.
In terms of, like, those are the best 3?
Yeah.
Is this number 3?
They're all about the same, in my opinion.
Oh, interesting. I would not go that far. It's a decent chapter. A lot more happened in this chapter than the last chapter, and so
Yeah.
I get that. But this is not Window of the West quality. Also, it doesn't have Faramir in it, so I'm biased against it. But I don't know. It's fine. There's one good conversation in it between Sam and Frodo later on.
Oh, yes.
And there's some interesting set dressing for some other things. Some of that I'm a little confused on, but that's okay. We can talk about it. The basic plot of this is that Frodo, Sam, and Gollum are heading east into the mountains, and then they climb up the mountains to go find the tunnel. That's the whole thing. Last chapter, they ended with leaving Faramir, or Faramir said, go somewhere else. 2 chapters ago, last chapter was the travel chapter where very little happened. They ended looking at the statue, right? The Gondorian statue or whatever, and then it all goes dark. And so this chapter begins with Gollum literally dragging Frodo and Sam up into the mountains because Frodo has decided to become depressed this chapter. Maybe that's not the best way to say it. I don't know.
Probably not.
That's a big component, this chapter. How would you describe what's happening there?
Yeah, okay, sure enough. It seems like the ring's power, maybe not unlike despair or something like that, is augmented, strengthened in loneliness. Faramir's hideout wasn't much of a home, but it was like a palace compared to what he had been through. A lot of good people around and tons of wisdom from Faramir, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's on his own again, and he's on Mordor's threshold. So the ring is even stronger than it was back in the marshes. And that was pretty close to the Black Gate. But now they may be even closer to Sauron and to Mordor from this other direction.
They're at least closer to direct power, because
Yeah.
a big part of this chapter is passing Ringwraith City, as we call it.
That is a huge bad time.
Yeah. So it's we really haven't heard anything about this ring burdening problem since a while now. At least since they met Faramir, if not before. So it almost feels like he got very close to Mordor and it was very heavy, and then when he walked a few steps away to get back into Gondor's region, then it comparatively it didn't feel like anything. But
Yeah,
now
that's
he's
part of the story, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So there is this large burden, and it comes back in force here, including well, it comes back and manifests itself in a couple ways that are curious,
Okay.
and we'll. I'm just. I don't really. It's the magic system. It's the magic system problem of like I don't understand why all this is happening, but that's centered around the Ringwraith from Ringwraith City, and we'll talk about him in a little
Okay.
bit. Um, I assume being near. I assume it's being near the Ringwraith City that intensifies the ring problem and the burden.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because you remember, even back in the Shire, being near the wraiths really made Frodo struggle with his own will to resist the temptation of the ring.
mhm.
Um, Even when they're on the road earlier with just Pippin, Sam, and Frodo, when they're on Weathertop, and now they're at the city of the ring wraiths. So of course it's going to be a lot worse.
Yeah. And it's especially after Weathertop, after Frodo was stabbed, that
Yeah.
I forget exactly what contexts we've seen this in, but Ringwraiths being around cause him chest pain, basically,
Yeah.
because he's remembering the old wound.
Yeah. If that was called a Morgul blade,
Mhm.
so undoubtedly it was forged and ensorcelled within the city.
Is it not ensorcled?
It's ensorcelled for sure.
See, if it was just an S in the middle of the word, it would be clear, and my
That's
homeschooler
true. That's
brain
true.
wouldn't bother with it. It's a good thing I don't talk about ensorcling almost ever. Uh, so you have he's going there, not feeling very good. There's pressure on him from all sorts of different directions. So much so that, and even Sam feels this way as well. It's mentioned that the hobbits really don't want to approach. They kind of see. I'm just gonna keep calling it Ringwraith City. It's what's the
Sure.
technical name for it? Is it Minas Morgul? Is that the
Yeah. Yeah.
city? Okay. So they see that, and even Sam is like, they're kind of frozen in fear by it.
Yeah.
Gollum is not.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Well, he hates it too,
Mhm.
but he's desperate or maybe used to it.
I just think the evil doesn't bother him quite as much as it bothers the rest of them.
Well, that's got to be part of it too. Yeah.
He is. I wrote he is enthused or at least not disabled
Inoculated, not disabled. Yeah.
by this because it's basically a brick wall for Sam and Frodo, and it describes Gollum essentially having to drag them
Yeah.
forward to get them to go anywhere. But
It's it's just such a haunting, creepy scene. This whole mm, being before the city.
mhm. Do you think the weird greenish LEDs on the city in the movie communicates the same idea? 'Cause I didn't.
I don't
I don't
I don't have an
remember.
issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The book doesn't describe it as like any particular difference in colors or anything like that, or at least not that I remember.
Yeah. There is a well, everything around here is described as having like a ghostly light. Like
Hmm.
there's a white bridge that isn't bright and happy. It's like sickly, but still sort of glowing. So I think what Jackson ended up doing to represent that with the city and stuff makes some sense. Yeah,
Very
but
good.
here the city, the road, the bridge all kind of have that ghostly quality.
Yeah, it's Gondor, but if Gondor was corrupted over,
Yeah.
is what it's going for, I think.
Yeah.
So after a little bit of a struggle, they get up into the mountains, and there they can look at Ringwraith City.
Yeah.
RC is what I've written in my notes.
That's
Uh,
perfect.
they can look at that, and Frodo, as he starts looking at that, decides it's a good idea to head right towards it.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it's one of the two main things where I say, "What?"
Hmm.
I I think the idea they're going for is that like the allure of the city is too strong, and the ringwraiths have some kind of hold on him, and
Yes.
maybe that the ring is also pushing him to do that. Maybe. But also, as soon as Sam says, "Hey, let's not do that," Frodo's like, "You're right," and they go a different direction. Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of confused on what's happening there. It's cool that he
Okay.
has Sam to pull him back, but like, it doesn't seem like it's much of a struggle to pull him back, which makes me question why he just kind of starts going towards it.
Sure. I think something we see a lot in this pair of chapters with the Stairs of Cirith Ungol and Shelob's Lair is how helpful it is to have a companion.
Hmm. Like
Um,
Gollum, he's a cool guy.
well, he has something to say about this theme in a negative way. Um, but like Frodo's will being overpowered, that makes sense from what we've seen with ring wraiths before. But I don't think it's like nothing. It's just Frodo does. Sorry, I'm saying this badly.
Are you good?
The fact that Sam is able to help him out of it in like a relatively quickly way doesn't necessarily mean the magic was like nothing, right?
Hmm.
It's if anything, it's sort of creepy that it has this draw even when those within the city don't know Frodo is there.
Hmm.
You can imagine, like, because when the other places we've seen Frodo's will compromised have been when wraiths, or mostly when wraiths were aware of him,
Yeah.
and here it's like a passive effect.
Yes. Yes. Although the two places in this chapter where Frodo does kind of get his will compromised, as it were, um, it also seems like he doesn't really get his will compromised. Is the other
Yeah.
question I have. So maybe that is just a difference in the like passive versus active kind of effect. But
Mhm.
even later on, when the Witch King comes out, it seems like it would be more active and more difficult, but then it's not, and it
Yeah.
seems more like an annoyance than it is anything serious. Have you played Lego Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Do you remember this level where every time you choose to not control Frodo, he just kind of walks onto the bridge and dies?
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not a good level. It's just irritating. That's the whole
It's,
bit.
it's pretty
Uh,
funny.
it is
Well,
pretty funny until he loses you all your money. But yes.
yeah. Well, remember, like Faramir says he's decided what to do, and
Mm-hmm.
so he wouldn't pick up the ring even if he saw it on the roadside.
Yep.
I think you're right that when the Witch King himself comes out here in a couple pages, that is upping the force of the magic,
Yeah.
strengthening that temptation for Frodo. But also, Frodo has already chosen not to go to the city at that point. So he's risen to match the increase as well, perhaps.
Cool. That wasn't even really what I was thinking about, but
Okay.
as you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that is a problem. So fair enough. Fair play on that. I have a different problem with the Witch King thing, but
Okay.
we'll be there in a second.
Sure, sure.
Um, anything you have to say as they're at the city, or I mean, Sam
Yeah.
just pulls them away and they start climbing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going to read any of these, but Tolkien does a very good job setting the scene here. I was able to imagine the environment too well as he was describing it. Um, just very nasty, creepy place. Or there is another thing now that you mention it.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's one of the first lines in the chapter in the third paragraph. Um, the first sentence is Frodo and Sam were plodding along with heavy hearts, no longer able to care greatly about their peril. And that's sad. Um, it just everything you read about the environment afterward, it's like, yeah, that would feel really heavy and really oppressive.
Yeah.
It shows their duty on one hand, but it makes them feel less alive. Being alive, part of that is caring about your safety, you know. But there's a lot of despair and like oppressive magic here.
Yeah. So if you're tired enough, what you're telling me is you can't get depressed. You can't.
I don't think that's what I said.
You can't be worried about it. I've just solved anxiety. Supposed to preach on.
I don't know if that's exactly how that works.
On Sunday night, I'm preaching on the "Don't Worry" passage from the Sermon on the Mount, so I can use this as an example. That's what Jesus meant the whole time.
Yeah,
might be
might want to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I should probably cite a source on that somewhere. Okay, so yes, Frodo and Sam not having a good time. Frodo having less of a good time. Sam is there to help him out, which is cool. Even though Sam is having a terrible time, he is still aware enough to grab Frodo, and he's still capable of it.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that Sam, for his own free will, can't or won't walk towards the Wraith City, but when Frodo starts walking there, Sam's like, nope, let's not do that, and he's able to run up and get him. Gollum doesn't have to go and save him, so that's a cool note to see. There is an interesting line somewhere that as Frodo and Sam get away from the city, which I believe is essentially hiking up a mountain, the air kind of lets them breathe easier. There's this
that's right.
thought, and I'm sure it's not literal, but it's this thought of like a poisonous area around the city. The city has some kind of aura that is not good and hurtful to anyone who is good. And so as you get too close to Ringwraith City, it goes very badly. But as you drag yourself away from it, so it gets easier and easier to get away from it. So Frodo is saved by that. He still tires out and tries to rest, and that's when a lot of the conflict of the chapter arises with everything that's going on in the Ringwraith City. But he does get out, and he can at least breathe, so that's a positive note.
Yes. That's a good observation.
So as they're going and kind of sitting there, the Mordor cities signal each other?
Yeah, we got a whole light show going on.
Apparently. Lightning is cool. And bad. It's for bad people. What city is sending the signal? Because Morgul is answering it.
Yeah. So
is it Gorgoroth
I don't think this is ever
that's
said
sending it, or that's not a city, that's a place.
No, that's a plain, a whole region, not a city.
My bad. Maybe the Eye of Sauron is sending it.
Yeah, there's two options. Ultimately, though, wherever it's originating from, it's Sauron sending to the Witch King. I don't think the two options I think are Mount Doom or Barad-dûr itself. I don't know if there would be a red flash from Barad-dûr. It's possible Sauron is causing the mountain to erupt.
The eye sitting on top of Barad-dûr is red, so
this is
terrible. Sense. It makes sense to me.
So I think probably the volcano is erupting.
Okay.
There's something in Return of the King where there will be a surge of like darkness, smoke, clouds coming out from Mordor. And that seems to correspond with this. So
so he's just dumping like a lot of water in the mountain and making it
magic.
Smoke a lot.
It's
magic water. Magic water can make things smoke a lot.
So
Maybe.
I think it's probably Mount Doom.
Who are you who are so wise in the ways of magic water? However, it's working. More. Sauron is, I guess, just signaling his lieutenant. Back in my day, they used to just use a trumpet, but
Yeah.
here we go. He has to explode a whole volcano. Second time he's done it,
Yeah.
apparently.
Well, it's yeah. You know, light travels better than sound. So the distance is here. It's got to be this way. And
Apparently.
also, it's super cool.
It is super cool. Part of me
Oh no.
wonders, like, does he not have a mental connection to the ring race? Does he not have the ability to just chat to them, or does he not have like a palantir in Minas Morgul where he could just send a message quietly? Like, does it need to
Mm.
be this massive public display? I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know how the system works.
I think there is a Palantir in Minas Morgul. I don't think he has like a mental connection to
Okay.
the wraiths. At least nothing specific enough to say it's time to go.
Yeah.
Um,
But if you are having to spread a cloud out, I mean, you're
yeah,
gonna blow up your mountain anyway. So that
yeah,
it makes sense. It's not
yeah.
an actual
I
complaint.
think
It's just like I
yeah,
don't know.
Gandalf and Pippin will see this in Gondor
Mm,
in Return of the King, and so maybe part of it is an intimidation factor as well.
yeah.
Armies aren't going to be hidden for very long anyhow, so that might be part of it.
Not if your army is adherent to the big black cloud that's coming across the sky.
Yes, that's right.
I may as well, I guess. Stealth orcs are not real. They cannot hurt you. Uh, so as on receiving this signal, and besides, when you're going out to war, it's not like a quiet thing. It's a very public thing anyway.
Right, right.
Upon receiving this signal, the Ringwraith city sends out this whole army, and at the head of it is the Witch King. I guess he's described as a wraith with a crown, and it's like, yeah,
Yes,
because he's the king wraith, even though they
yes,
were all kings. Why
yeah.
did is there lore on why one of the ring wraiths is picked to be above the other ones? Was he just like a better king than they were, or
Yeah, more powerful, more loyal. I don't think there's anything specific about that.
okay, curious, feels made up. Uh, as the Witch King comes out, because the Witch King is the one who stabbed Frodo,
Yeah.
so Frodo has a particular connection with him. As the Witch King comes out, Frodo starts feeling pressure like he should put on the ring, but then he also feels like he shouldn't put on the ring.
Hmm.
And so he doesn't put on the ring. And that's curious to me because if, especially if the passive appeal of the ring wraith, or like the passive kind of strength of will, or however you want to phrase that, from the ring wraith city itself, is going to impact you to such an extent that you just kind of walk into their city,
Right.
then when the Witch King comes out and his presence is right there and he's scanning the area and looking around, because part of this, part of what's described is the Ringwraith thought process, which is kind of weird, which we also should talk about. I don't know what to do
Sure,
with that.
sure.
He's looking around, he's thinking, he thinks he feels something, apparently.
Yes.
So you'd think he's exerting a lot more active will, and yet
Hmm.
Frodo is not making any effort to stand up or show himself or walk into the city. And he's not even making any effort to really put on the ring, because it's phrased as if it's not even like a real temptation, because like
Yeah.
he feels like the ring
I
wants
can
him
understand
to,
why you're reading that.
but he then also there's no appeal to him to actually put on the ring. It's on what was the phrase that I looked at? If you have an answer to that, go ahead. I would
Yeah, I
read
do.
you
I do.
whatever. Yeah.
Something that's also part of this scene is though Frodo allegedly isn't having he's refusing to do this.
Yeah.
something's happening because his hand begins to move toward the ring by the
Yes.
end of this. And then his own will stirs, and he does have to fight it. He does choose to resist. I think maybe Tolkien's painting a picture where it's Frodo's exhaustion. I think there's a lot of
Hmm.
factors here. Like Frodo's exhaustion is at play, and also there's kind of a parallel to this kind of a domination magic in Saruman. Um, his magic of deception and trying to convince people to do things is really weakened when people know he is a traitor or has an army.
Okay.
It's like your soft words don't match reality. Um, and here, Frodo's terror of the Ringwraith's army, I think, is doing a lot to counteract whatever else the Ringwraith is doing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a much more overt threat than just the city and the gloom. I think that might be part of it.
Yeah. Because there are lines like, uh, he felt more urgent than ever before the command that he should put on the ring. But great as the pressure was, he felt no inclination now to yield to it because he knows the ring's not going to help.
Yeah.
But
I think he's
yeah,
been helped by Sam already. He sees the army. I think those are two things that are setting this up. But some part of his will is being tempted or dominated because his hand begins to move toward the ring, you know?
yeah. I'm not sure it's the terror of the army. There's a line a little later on. There was no longer any answer to that command, the command that he would put on the ring. There was no longer any answer to that command in his own will, dismayed by terror though it was, and he felt only the beating upon him of a great power from outside. So it
Right.
really feels like it is just kind of his internal logic that says, "Hey, this isn't going to help." So
Yeah.
as
That's
much
the
as you
simple
want to,
answer. Yeah. And
yeah.
that's true. That's true.
So that's curious. And then his hand just kind of does move on its own, which is like, okay, so like he doesn't want to and he's not going to do it, but then he kind of is going to do it. But then he touches the file of Galadriel and the
Yeah.
elves help him not to do it. So that's
And it's
score one more
significant
for elf provision, I guess.
that he does that by choice
Mm-hmm.
because there's a shift there. It seems like initially he's just kind of kind of blank and
Yeah.
just not answering because of terror of one sort or another. And once the magic finally overcomes that obstacle, Frodo does have to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes some difficulty, but he relies on elven magic, as we've seen before, to strengthen that will.
Yeah.
And it also seems to obscure him from the Wraith King,
Mm-hmm.
which you want to talk about a little bit, I'm sure, because it's at that moment that he leaves and departs with his army.
Yeah. Um, so the reintroduction of the file of Galadriel is funny. It kind of feels like, I'm sure this is not the case, but it kind of feels like Tolkien forgot about it and is like, ah, yes, all my readers will have forgotten about this as well. Let me just remind them that this exists. Boom, file of Galadriel. This is going to be relevant next chapter. Okay, moving on. Um, it feels like that's one of the reasons why this is thrown in, because Frodo even says,
Fair
"Oh yeah,
enough.
I did forget about this. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I've had this the whole time," and then he's going to use it immediately.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit silly. It goes right along with the theme of, "Hey, we haven't got any help out here," but actually, the elf cloak and the elf bread and the elf everything, like they've provided for you the whole way. And it
Mhm.
is the elves that allow him an escape from the ring wraiths, which is just like Rivendell back in the day.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
it's a little less overt, but it's still there.
Sure, sure.
Even the lingering presence of the elves scares the Witch King away, or clouds his vision, doesn't allow him to see
Yeah,
Frodo,
more the
whoever
second
that
thing, I
is.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. So There is
Yeah,
that. So it is very consistent, and I'm fine with it. It's just a
I
little
think so.
silly that it's
Maybe I can understand that.
yeah. I'm
I
sure that
think
Tolkien didn't forget about it, but I think part of this device is, hey readers, you need to remember that this exists.
yeah, it's definitely prepping it for its more
It's not just a Deus Ex Machina because it has
yeah
been there since Fellowship. We just have never talked about it.
yeah. And to be fair, there haven't been a lot of situations I think where this would have come up.
No,
So
not really.
yeah,
Not at all. Shining a bright flashlight is not exactly a
not
stealth
usually.
mission. It's not a covert
Yeah,
thing. So,
there's as the Witch King leaves, and I think you're right that it's we never get like specific measures of this ring awareness that they have being
mm-hmm.
ring wraiths, but he has like a little curiosity. He's like, I could swear there's like a ring over there,
Yeah,
and then he decides probably not.
yeah.
Must be something else.
One of the things you've said, and I'm about to horribly butcher this, so maybe you haven't actually said this,
Okay.
is, well, it's one thing when at like the pool, right? Frodo's description of what Gollum is doing is probably the thing that's true.
Hmm.
In many ways, the narrator's description of what's going on is supposed to be like what we read is true.
Yes.
The narrator describes what the Witch King is thinking. He's actually called the Wraith King here.
Yeah.
Um, the Wraith Lord or the Morgul King or the Wraith King. Why do we call him the
It's good.
Witch King? Is that his
I think
Pelennor Fields title?
Aragorn. I think Aragorn calls him that in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be. I probably would have
Or maybe
complained
maybe
about it
on
if he didn't.
Pelennor Fields too. Yeah.
Everything happens in the Pelennor Fields, so I'm told.
It does. Oh my goodness, it does.
So the description here is like, well, he turns. It's not just that he turns and looks, and then turns. It's not just that he turns towards Frodo and looks in the area, but then decides to ride off with his people. It is like, well, he looked at them and maybe because they're wearing elven cloaks, he just couldn't see them. And maybe because Frodo's thinking about elves, he just couldn't hear them.
Hmm.
And then he leaves. And it's like, what? Okay.
No,
Um,
I like this actually because it's supposed to be like from Frodo's perspective,
mhm.
of things.
Yeah.
And so Frodo doesn't know what in the world is the reason. So he's like, here's some options here.
Yes, although because it's written from the narrator's perspective, it is something that we're supposed to like compute as that's the right answer.
Sure.
That's what
Yeah. Yeah.
happens. One of the, and I think I've talked about this even all the way back in Fellowship of the Ring. One of the core principles of keeping something scary is keeping something unknown.
Mhm.
Alien is scary. It's not actually that scary. It's not a good movie. But it's supposed to be scary because you don't know what the alien is. Aliens is not scary in the same way because not even that the first one was scary, but you get the point. It's not the same because you already know what the alien is. And as they explain more and more of something, then the horror goes away. This is why horror series cannot survive beyond like a couple of entries because they have to explain something, and the more you understand about the thing, the less scary it is. When Frodo says, "Ah, yes, we wore elven cloaks so we couldn't be seen," it's like, okay, then if I'm wearing an elven cloak, then the Witch King can't get me. And I'm
Sure.
sure there's more to it than that. But also, when you explain this, it kind of disambiguates what the Witch King is doing and how he thinks, because it's showing you he's thinking like a human and he's just relying on his physical senses. And, I thought I saw something, but I guess I didn't. And so I leave.
Well,
Um,
not just physical senses. Yeah.
yeah, but it's that kind of thing. You're
Yeah.
defining parameters for him.
I understand.
It's
Yeah. Well,
kind of
for
weird from the narrative
sure.
perspective, or from the
Sure.
narrator's perspective. And it's kind of just like, well, okay, he is just a big, powerful being, but he is a big, powerful being. Now, Tolkien's been into that because Sauron is not omniscient or omnipotent
Yes.
in any way. And so it's clear that the Witch King isn't either. But the more I understand, the more I'm like, oh yeah, he's big and scary, but that's kind of it. He's just a strong
Well,
human.
sure.
So that's my main complaint
That's all
with
fair.
the
That's
Witch
all
King.
fair. I think from what you're laying out, it's sort of a catch-22 for Tolkien.
Yeah.
Like he could make him unexplained and all that, but then you're like, why in the world did he just leave? So I feel like it is the right choice to lean toward explaining a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like I said already, I think it's notable he doesn't give you a 100% answer. So there's still some of that tension. You're right, it's not as scary as if we didn't really know at all, but it avoids a different problem by providing this.
Yeah.
So,
And I think one of the points I tried to make in Fellowship is when you just like wash away all the villains and then they die, or their horses die, and then they just have to like walk back home. That's not very intimidating anymore. And so
sure.
the Ringwraiths don't exactly have that veneer of perfected evil forces that can never be stopped. So it's not like out of character to do this. It's just, again, it's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm glad.
One thing that does heighten a certain kind of terror from the Witch King directly after this is that the narrator notes, so great an army had never issued from this place since the days of Isildur.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, Gondor's been fighting Mordor for a long time, but now we're dealing with a really big army. And by the way, this one was not the greatest of the hosts that Mordor now sent forth.
Mm-hmm.
So this is moving. The Witch King is flawed magically, perhaps, and in his ability of perception, and maybe even judgment. But as we're moving to Return of the King, which is going to be more battles than anywhere else we've seen, he's heightening the military intimidation.
So he's got quantity but not quality.
Well,
question on the geography of Mordor, when it says so great an army had never issued from that vale, is that the entire valley of Mordor, or is that just Minas Morgul, the city?
Just Minas Morgul, yeah.
Okay, that solves one of my complaints, because if you're trying to tell me that this one army is greater than the entire army that fought the last alliance of elves and men,
that's a bit extra.
It's a little bit extra. It is even still a little bit extra when you say, like, this is the greatest thing since Isildur, and by the way, this is just a fraction of what Sauron's sending out. It still feels like it carries a lot of that. But it's if you're saying, you know, this is on the level of what Isildur had to face, that's much more permissible than this one city is sending out more than Isildur had to face.
Yeah,
which is like, no,
it's a lot,
it's not.
but it's realistic, as it were.
Yeah. We'll go with that. I don't know the rate of Mordor and orc multiplication and all that stuff, but yes, it's probably within a reasonable scale.
I think so.
That works. After this, oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Let me keep talking.
All I have is like Frodo gets depressed.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to talk about that too.
Hey, he knew what I was talking about.
It's a good part here.
Yes, I like the part where he gets depressed.
Well, it's just, I'm glad we're able to spend some time relating to Frodo in the face of something so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
His will's being tested just about every way it can. There's sort of that rabbit sort of fear that would get activated when there's a bunch of upside down lightning launching into the sky. His will is being eroded by magic, and he sees this huge army that's threatening everyone he cares about. So there's not much left of Frodo that's not being challenged by Sauron here.
Yep.
He thinks about Faramir, because he's closest, and then beyond that to everyone else he cares about. And he thinks, what can they do against something like this? It's over. And even though Frodo does kind of steel himself after this, it's a very relatable reaction to that terror. Overcome with weakness, and he wept. And then the last line of that paragraph is, even after all the forces that have overwhelmed him at this point, the army keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just kind of keep marching on. Why not?
Yeah.
There's always more of them.
Yeah.
And it is a pretty cool shot in the movie to have them climbing up the cliffs and then just watching rows of people walk behind them.
Yeah.
It's mildly terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing is, Frodo gets sorrowful because of, like, two things come to his mind. One is Faramir's upcoming destruction, because he knows this army's going to Osgiliath. That's, I guess, like the border town. It's the closest city that they're going to go to. So, of course, they're probably going to put their effort there. And Faramir had known that was coming at some point. And Frodo says, like, but does he know that it's going to be now? Well, he probably does after all the lightning goes up. But
well, yes, at this point.
But that's still not very much time to rally people together and actually defend. He then also thinks about the Shire.
Yeah.
And then his hometown. So it's not just like, hey, good people that I met along the way, but it's also, yeah, my people are going to die too if these guys go out. But of course, the kind of paradox within that is the Shire will only die if Frodo doesn't accomplish his mission. And so as Frodo is getting sorrowful and burdened and feels like he needs to, or feels like everything is being put upon him and everything is so difficult, at the same time, it's only going to be so terrible if he gives up. So if he just doesn't give up, then everything's okay.
I like that observation.
That's a problem that comes up with a lot of people, is you get in your own head about things, and then you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's the word I'm looking for. This series of words I'm looking for. And Frodo almost does that, but then he doesn't, through his own will and through Sam's help and Gollum's guidance even. He goes on,
because a couple paragraphs later, he stands up and Tolkien says, despair had not left him, but weakness had passed. Like we've seen before, Frodo has already told Sam he expects to die doing this.
Yep.
He says, okay, things are rough. I already knew they were rough. It was scary seeing it up close, but I've got to keep going.
So it goes, as they say.
Yeah.
A great phrase.
It's metal, man. Frodo's tough as nails.
Mm-hmm. And he gets up and starts to climb. This is a big climb. Nowhere to rest. They are stairs that came from somewhere that are as steep as a ladder sometimes. And they're not in very good condition.
Yeah. I think it is meant to be seen as probably an orc stair that they just don't have to use very often. But it is sort of ambiguous.
Yeah. Well, there are stairs of the sort that are like, some of them are just kind of broken, and some of them are actively breaking as they're climbing up.
Yeah.
This is the service entrance that's never used, or hasn't been in years and years. So, of course, this is why, I mean, you can go in the Black Gate, and Gollum said, no, that's dumb. Here's the secret way that nobody's going to think you're going to use, because this is a terrible route. But nobody uses it, and so they're going to be lax on looking at it. Gollum warns them, this is a big climb. You're not going to be able to rest anywhere on it. There will be a rest before the tunnel, so that's good. Yeah, they do rest before the tunnel. Which will definitely help.
Yeah.
So they climb this, and nothing really interesting happens during their climb.
Yeah, it does give me anxiety a little bit. Like, I don't like the idea of climbing something like that.
Yeah.
And usually I love climbing.
Yeah. In the movie, there's this whole big kerfuffle with Frodo and Sam, and they have a falling out and stuff like that, and
Oh yes.
it's over dramatized and a little bit silly. I'm
Oh,
not a huge fan of that.
it's very silly.
Yeah,
That's very silly.
yeah, but movie Frodo and book Frodo are a little bit different. Book Frodo is more aware, I think.
Yeah, they're so different.
Yeah, a little bit different. They hit on all of the same core themes, but not in the same way.
No.
And the intelligence is one of the things that did not transfer over. But
Yeah.
that's mainly a problem in this one scene in the movie, and everywhere else I feel like it's pretty normal.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that with our retrospective on the book.
Ah, yes,
That'll be the thing I pop off on.
on Frodo.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I hate Frodo. Should have just given the ring to Gollum. Let Gollum be the main character. I
Okay.
hear there's a
Well,
Gollum movie coming out.
there's too many of these things. It's going to mess me up.
They are climbing, and they climb, and they climb. After they climb, they get up to the top, and Sam sees that there is an orc tower up there. And he says, Gollum, why didn't you tell us there was an orc tower up here? To which, I'm pretty sure Gollum did tell them that there is an orc tower up there. Because he said it's absolutely guarded, it's just less guarded than there was before.
Yeah.
They've
Well,
heard that. It's either Gollum or Faramir. I forget who told them.
yeah, to Sam's point, Gollum says that almost at sword point, and he only says everywhere's guarded. That's what he specifically said under pressure.
Mhm.
So I can understand Sam feeling this way, because that sort of sounds like a saying everywhere's guarded kind of leaves room for this might not be guarded.
Yeah. Well, you can kind of fudge that maybe, but also like I I feel like even back in the Black Gate is closed, he told them there's a tower up there, but it's easier to sneak past that one than it is this one.
I don't remember that. I don't think so.
I meant to go look this up before, but now we can do it live, I suppose.
Sure.
They are climbing. They are climbing. Sauron has an eye. The Black Gate is scary. There's a pass, and then a tunnel, and then a path high above the main pass. If that path is still there, it'll still be guarded too. Wasn't it guarded, Gollum? Gollum muttered, but didn't reply. Frodo says, "Is it not guarded?" And Gollum says, eventually, "Yes, there aren't any safe places. There aren't any safe places. So maybe that's not specifically like yes, there is a tower. However, the paragraph right after that describes Cirith Ungol and the fact that there's like, a tower up there and stuff.
But that's a narrative aside there.
I guess that is a retrospective. So we as the reader know that there's a tower up there. Sam did not know specifically.
Yeah.
I rescind half of my criticism of that.
But anyway, shows just how deceptive Gollum is trying to be. He thinks they might like chicken out if he mentions there's a blatant tower here.
Yeah.
So he's trying to keep that as secret as possible.
Yeah, and ultimately,
which is stupid, but
well, for Gollum's plan, the tower doesn't matter because in Gollum's plan, they're not making it through the tunnel. I think
that's true.
Idea.
That's true.
So he is definitely trying to sway them, but also he's not exactly keeping the tower back because it's malicious. He's keeping the tower back because he's doing something else that's malicious, and he just hasn't even it's just irrelevant. Why would he bring it up? They're never going to see it. Except
that's
they
part
will,
of it too,
but
probably.
that's Return of the King. So, spoilers for the end of Two Towers. They will make it through the tunnel, sort of. Sam will knock himself out on the tunnel, but we'll talk about that later. it's on the top of this cliff that here you get the one actual like conversation that happens in the chapter.
Yeah. What did you think about it? What stood out to you?
I wrote Sam monologues about the value of perseverance for the sake of a good story, which isn't exactly true, but it's kind of true. That's a fairly
Yeah.
good summary of what happened.
This and one other thing are the reasons this is a baller chapter.
Has the one other thing passed yet?
No,
Oh.
it comes after it. Yeah.
Oh. Then I have no idea what you're going for, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see that Frodo is cheered up, and they do have a relatively normal conversation, which is very noteworthy because there's a line in the chapter that no one's laughed in Mordor since Sauron came in. And
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
a long time ago? But hobbits are built different.
Yeah, I just love that. I love that.
Was that the one thing? That was the
No, we'll get there.
okay.
That's still part of this whole story scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I love stories. I love how Sam's talking about it. He says, like, he's basically explaining how he's been moved and inspired by these stories. But since he's just kind of a naive guy, he's like, maybe they just wanted adventures, you know?
Yep.
Sort of like the more lower stakes story that Bilbo experienced.
Yeah.
Although there still was a legit dragon there that wasn't any fun.
Yeah. And sometimes the bad ending to a story isn't a bad ending when you zoom out, and sometimes it's not a good ending isn't a good ending when you zoom out.
This just is oozing with very insightful things.
Yeah. Random conversation that is actually really good. I did notice also. I think a lot of these lines are taken for the ascent up Mount Doom, I believe, in the movie.
Yeah.
The Gollum's line of "clever hobbits to climb so high."
In the next chapter.
Oh
no, that's
it's
here,
in here.
That's
it was
right.
slightly earlier,
That's
as
right.
they were climbing. That's something that's used.
That's right.
The whole "I can't carry the ring for you, but I can carry you." That is not in this section, but everything leading up to that is in this section.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that gets remixed and used around. Well, was it a So Uncivilized video on YouTube where he talked about that?
That's right.
How even though the Lord of the Rings movies are not one-to-one adaptations of the books, they bring in Tolkien's language and they always describe things in Tolkien's own words, and so it still feels like Lord of the Rings, even though they are changing a bunch of stuff, it still feels like it.
Yeah.
Because they're honoring his work and his words more than their own ideas. They're not just inserting their own stuff.
Yeah.
They're changing plenty, but they're not shoving their idea into it.
Yeah. And that does make it more palatable than it would be otherwise. Yeah.
So that's the main stuff I left. I noticed. Also, Gollum left while they were chatting, and they know it's not for food, but they don't know why.
Yeah. And I'll back up to some more stuff in Sam's thing.
Yeah, sure.
But I like Sam's worried about Gollum, and Frodo's like, he's probably planning to betray us. It's not orcs. I don't know what it is, but we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It kind of matches the attitude he had after the Witch King's army passed away.
Yeah. We will deal with that when we get to it. But there's nothing we can do about it right now.
It's a very admirable practicality.
Some would say it's defeatist, but the right people would say it's true. It's just how life is at this point.
In this context, it's realistic, I think.
Yeah.
I something else that stood out to me with Sam. He appeals. Well, you and I will 100% sooner or later read through the Silmarillion, and Sam references that here. It's like all these amazing legends.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, I hadn't thought about it. We're carrying on the same story, he says. And we have that second mention of the File of Galadriel, which is also prepping us for
next chapter.
its use next chapter. But the way Sam is framing stories and his own history and own future, it just it really resonates with me. I like as a Christian, we have something in the past, particularly most amazingly, the coming of Jesus and all his promises and salvation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that informs what I'm trying to do with my life now. And also, we have stories that are written about it from people who are affected by it, and even back into Old Testament things, those scriptures. It's it would take a while to adequately express what I'm trying to say, but that kind of touches on it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very humbling and important to remember.
The story doesn't end. It's just every individual's part in it will come to an end. That's what Frodo says. And Frodo says later or sooner is when our part will be over, which is a little like, oh, well, I'm glad you're optimistic, sir. But yeah, every human has a limited time frame in which to accomplish these things, and you're not the start of any particular story, and you're not the end of any particular story. Frodo and Sam, as much as they are playing key roles, I mean, Sauron's existed a long time before them, and who knows if they'll actually defeat Sauron or not. Right? That's not the point. The point is to do what they can with
exactly
their part that they have now.
Yeah. I love how very naturally talking about such a serious thing brings us to Frodo's laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just more hopeful after talking to Sam about this. But it's not like a silly frivolity. It's a good kind of joy.
Yeah.
And so you see Sam's humility as well, because Sam obviously thinks Frodo is a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Sam cares so much about Frodo. But when Frodo says, hey, I bet people would want to hear more about Sam, Sam's like, don't say that. That's stupid. Yeah.
Specifically, Sam the Stout-Hearted, which got translated into Samwise the Brave, which is probably better because
we know what that
stout-hearted.
means. Yeah.
Old language, unfortunately. That would that would be a really different feel to that scene in the movie. Silly old things. So after that, they're kind of like having a moment where they're chatting and they're having a good time, and they're thinking about their roles in the story and who's the good guy and where are the bad guys. And speaking of bad guys, Gollum. Hey, Gollum, you want to be a good guy? Wait a second. He's gone.
Bro,
he can't be a good guy.
It's a very ham-fisted thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it feels like a natural flow of conversation. Like they just get so lost in just chatting about something. And it's the first time they've done it in a long time, which is a nice feeling. And then Sam looks up and is like, whoops. Where'd he go? Really, really quick. That seems
it's a question Gollum should have been around to hear.
Mm-hmm. But Gollum is gone. He's gone.
Since and the reason he doesn't hear it is because he's choosing to be a bad guy. It's very fitting.
We don't know that. All we know is he's gone, and it can't be for food because food doesn't exist up here, and it can't be for water because water doesn't exist up here, and it can't be to rest because there's nowhere else to rest up here.
Yep.
He's probably fine, if I had to guess.
That's the takeaway.
Absolutely. So when you say there's something else you like, is it when Gollum returns? And he finds both hobbits asleep, and then he almost seems to like turn into an old hobbit to like remember his old ways or something. What? Explain that, or why you like it.
So I'm going to back up for a second.
Sure.
Frodo and Sam decide to rest. Frodo says it's not worth worrying about this. And it is in. I have heard like some people who don't know what in the world they're talking about say, "Oh, look at this! Frodo and Sam are gay."
Oh yeah.
But it just misses the point. It exposes just how messed up our culture views love, I think.
Yeah. Or just
Um,
friendship. Nothing can be friendship anymore.
exactly. Well, yeah, friendship is a legit and very important kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
And here in this desperate, lonely situation, it is so reasonable they would lean on each other like this, and literally like this. Frodo's putting himself in Sam's trust as he's more exhausted, and it's just a beautiful moment. And it sort of tears me up that people don't understand what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't think it's don't understand. I think it's purposefully misunderstand what's going on.
That's probably the
But
case sometimes. Yeah.
that's just me being suspicious again.
Yeah. Anyway, it's so beautiful, and Smeagol comes, and he thinks it's beautiful too.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked before. I think this is a really good hyperlink connection to the Taming of Smeagol chapter, where I think I said it this way. Smeagol lies to himself when he promises to help Frodo,
Mm-hmm.
and he's so happy that he's turned over a new leaf, even though it is not very deep.
He wants to believe it, but everyone knows it's not real.
And this, we kind of have an inversion of that, because this point, Gollum has definitely committed to betrayal and deception. But it's so sad, Reagan, that he sees the friendship and trust they have, and it breaks him.
Mm-hmm.
He wants that so badly. He reaches out and just barely has the courage to touch Frodo's knee. And then I think it's really thought-provoking what happens next, because Sam wakes up because there's someone evil nearby, which is sad. And very reasonably, Sam is spooked, seeing Gollum kind of reaching out. And he says, "What are you doing sneaking around, you old villain?" And just like we've seen, this has been a pattern for Gollum, right? Is whenever someone else calls him something like that, he gets so defensive and just doubles down on his wickedness while justifying himself.
Yep.
And that is the final rock on his road to destruction.
Yeah. It almost makes you wonder if Sam hadn't used the word sneak, would Gollum have done what he just did? But as soon as Sam uses the word sneak, Gollum is like, well, that's it. And then everything for the rest of the chapter becomes, oh, I'm just sneaking around. Haha. Aren't I so terrible? I'm a sneak. And
which is so terrible.
Yeah. Be careful what you say if you're in Sam's shoes, but also be careful what you take to heart if you're in Gollum's shoes. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's so neat to think about.
Sam said one word that he probably shouldn't have and instantly apologized for it, and tough.
Yeah.
Right. The one shot is gone because Gollum is not willing.
You can't take back what you say.
Nope.
But yeah, obviously, Smeagol is not remotely innocent like he's pretending to be.
No. And even if there was any potential there, Gollum immediately kills it. So like
exactly.
It's
so Tolkien's showing us how important it is to not take things to heart like that. How important it is to be careful with what you say. And with all of that, showing just how close even this really irredeemable looking Gollum could be to redemption.
Yeah. If he wanted to be.
Exactly. And that's the key. It's also striking to me that when he sees the beautiful friendship between Sam and Frodo, he looks like a hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
when he's really thinking about that.
Yep.
But once he is, turns in on his pride and self justification, he looks like a spider, which is pretty
Hmm.
pretty
Hmm.
blatant foreshadowing, huh?
I wonder what could be in the tunnel. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll get there next time, I guess. The last thing that happens in this chapter is actually very interesting, where Frodo wakes up and basically he tries to set Gollum free.
Oh
And
yes,
I'm not
yeah. I got so
sure
distracted.
because he phrases this almost like it's out of obligation, like, hey, you promised to take me to the entrance, you've now taken me to the entrance, so you're free. You can go anywhere, but you're free. uh, Part of me is like, yeah, it's just out of obligation. The other part of me is like, I think he knows that Gollum's doing something in this tunnel. And so I'm not sure if this is, well, I have to, or I'm afraid of you and would rather you not be in here. Either way, Gollum says no, and Gollum is going to go with them through the tunnel, which is not going to end well.
Yeah, I don't
But he
think
does
it's
try.
about. Yeah, I don't think it's about being afraid of betrayal in the tunnel
Yeah, maybe not.
because Frodo's going to go through whether Smeagol does or not,
Mm-hmm.
or whether or not Smeagol comes with them. I think obligation is part of it, and also Frodo doesn't know how timely this would have been to offer mercy and kindness.
Yep.
But that's just the kind of person Frodo is, um, and so he sees an opportunity to maybe get through to Smeagol because Smeagol doesn't understand a lot of the honor that Frodo has, but everyone understands oaths,
Mm-hmm.
and Frodo's speaking that language that he'll understand, and he's using it as an opportunity for Smeagol.
Yeah. He is trying to help. And just, you don't want to drag somebody into that, right? It's not a good place to go. And so
Right?
if you're like, even if you do have an oath where they could go further, it's like, well, but you don't have to, because this is
Mhm.
tough. So you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
You
Gollum
know,
says, no, I like this tunnel. It's a good tunnel. It's very cozy in there.
yeah. And
I'm
that
gonna
is the
hang out.
final word is
Uh,
Frodo committing or Smeagol committing to evil.
yep.
As you were talking, you made me
Probably a good guy.
remember, probably, right? You made me remember Elrond told the Fellowship he's not going to make them swear oaths to go with Frodo. Uh, Frodo bound Smeagol to an oath by necessity when they first met,
Yep.
but now he's doing the same thing Elrond had done. I hadn't really thought about that before. It's interesting.
Which is, I forget exactly what they swore to do in Rivendell, but it
Well,
wasn't to go all the way to Mount Doom. It was to help him as they were able, or something like that.
yeah. Well, notably, Elrond says, "I'm not going to make you make an oath."
Yep.
Yeah, you can go as far as your
Right.
heart compels you.
Right.
Yeah,
As far as it aligns with your other purposes, or as far as you're able to, sure.
exactly.
But nobody's going to have to do that to go into Mordor, except for Frodo, which Sam ignores because he's got an oath to him for a different reason. But
Yeah,
it's purely voluntary on Sam's part. It's not been foisted on him by anyone else. Well, very cool.
yeah,
For half a page of notes and 15 pages of text, that was an hour and 8 minutes.
yeah, man. I
Not a
I
bad
felt there was a
chapter.
lot going on there. Yeah.
Not the worst chapter in the Two Towers, one might say.
Well, if that's all you can say, I'll take it.
Sometimes we have to make do with less than perfect circumstances. But that'll wrap us up there. And then is the next chapter is not the last one, is it? No, it's not.
Shelob's Lair and then the choices of Master Samwise, man.
Yeah. So
Dos Mas.
next time Shelob's Lair. It's only 11 pages long. Surely
Yeah.
nothing important happens there.
I
And
think it
then
will be shorter than this discussion.
probably. And then the last chapter after that. So we are 2 weeks away from being done with the Two Towers. Then we have to come up with something for like a very brief interlude to space people out.
Yeah.
And then
You
we can
should
come right
choose
back
it this
to it.
time.
I should. I'll think about it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But we will deal with that when we come back and deal with that. That was a perfect way to transition out of this. So
I love it.
thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.